Hey everyone, and welcome to the Cedar Chat. That is right. Welcome to the Cedar Chat, Season 1, Episode 1. I have named this one Welcome to the Chat as, well, Welcome to the Cedar Chat. I had so many submissions for today's Cedar Chat. All of them will be used, but for this first one, I picked out about half of yours. And for the Cedar Chat Episode 2, I will use some of your old ones from this last question asking shenanigan. And then I'll also be asking for more questions. So that's how that's gonna roll. So we got a big lineup of questions today. So without further ado, let's get into it. Firstly, from PotatoGamingGD. What roller coaster has the most positive and or negative G's at Cedar Point? That is a really good question. So for the positive G-force, I feel like there's two roller coasters that you could look to. Either Maverick or Raptor. I'm mostly just saying Raptor because of the final helix, and some of those inversions really do pack a punch. Maverick, it's got some nice banked turns, as well as some whippy inversions, as well as I'm talking a lot about these stangle dives at the end. But overall, I think I'm going to give positive G's to Raptor. That final helix really does cause a pretty solid gray out during the end. And also, I want to give a shout out to Millennium Force. That first overbanked hill, it hits very well. So for positive G's, I'm going to go Raptor. For negative G-force, I think that, well, there's one really obvious answer. It literally has the most negative G's out of any roller coaster, period. And that is Steel Vengeance. Now, Steel Vengeance, it's just airtime. That's all I can describe it with. But don't sleep on Magnum's Triangle Hills and Maverick's first drop, the airtime hill after the turns in the beginning, and there are other moments of extreme negative G's on Maverick, but I do have to give it to Steel Vengeance. Before we continue, I'd like to remind everyone, please be sure to hit that like and the subscribe button. We just reached 50 subscribers, which I'm super stoked about. And let's try to get to 100 as soon as possible. So I need all of your support here. So let's move on to our next question. Our next question is from Coaster Warrior 325. Do you think that Busch Gardens Williamsburg will build Drachenspire? I know Drachenspire has been a big topic on people's minds for a while, because it was definitely something that Busch Gardens seemed like they were gonna do. However, I think they ended up taking a different approach, where they used some of the land for Extreme, aka Pantheon, which I think is what Drachenspire ended up being, and then Big Bad Wolf. So they used some of it for family coasters and some of it for thrill coasters. So personally, I don't think that Busch Gardens will be building Drachenspire. However, I wouldn't complain if they did. Like, that thing looks crazy. So Busch Gardens Williamsburg get to work on that. But sadly, I do not see that happening. Up next, Skier874 asks, what are your opinions on Alpine Theory? Will you get to ride it this year? That's a really good question, actually, because I think the layout itself looks incredible. 9 inversions. That's giving Steel Curtain a run for its money there. And the inversions look really good, too. All the rolls look super, super whippy. The Fire Serpent roll looks incredible. And, other elements, such as those weird elements later in the ride, as well as all of the Heartline rolls throughout the ride, look really punchy. And it looks like it does have airtime throughout the experience. What me and a lot of other enthusiasts really don't like about this ride is its capacity. Canada's Wonderland is the most regionally attended theme park in the Cedar Fair chain. Well, now it's the Six Flags chain. And running 2 train operations on those small premier trains is not a recipe for success. And also it'll probably have some downtime throughout the year, so the capacity does not look good, and that is going to be a painful line to wait in. However, on the bright side, if it's open by, I'd say, early July, which it probably will be, I will get to ride it when I'm up at Canada's Wonderland for my first time. So be sure to follow along for all of my adventures this year, because I'm getting on a lot of new roller coasters, and it's going to be awesome. Up next, I have the first of 2 questions. The second one will be coming later in the episode from TheoBallintine. Up first, we have, why is Steel Curtain so dang unreliable? You guys don't want to know how many times I've asked myself that question. Why is it so unreliable? We've got a couple of different theories, but the main theory that I feel like it's pretty much been confirmed with the new supports added is structural unintegrity. Is that what they call it? I don't know. The structure is non-stable. And that, while riding it, you could definitely feel a vibration. I remember thinking my ears tingled after riding it last time I rode it because of the vibration. Apparently that's what was causing the vibration. Slight movements in the structure of the ride. How that could cause downtime during the day, I don't know. But I could definitely see how that could shut down a ride for the rest of a season, I can tell you that. A couple other theories are issues with the trains. I can't really see that, as the same type of trains are used over on Max Force at Six Flags Great America, and as far as I know, there aren't any issues with the trains on that. So I'm gonna answer that with a pretty confident structural failure. This is why Steel Curtain's so dang unreliable. Our next question is from Graham Erdner 1569. What is the meaning of life? No. I'm no philosopher, but I'm going to try. So, as far as I know, you're born to have a good life. You're born to conquer the earth and live a fulfilling, helpful, and enjoyable life. What's one way you can have a fulfilling, enjoyable, and helpful life? Going to ride roller coasters. Okay, hear me out on this one. So, well, you want to have fun. What more fun can you have than on roller coasters? You're literally watching a channel called Cedar Thrills. Cedar Thrills, thrilling rides, roller coasters. If you don't like roller coasters, you should probably leave. But yeah, you're gonna have fun. It's gonna feel fulfilling. You're gonna have that adrenaline pumping through you. It's gonna be great. And helpful, you'll see why it's helpful. So, by purchasing either a ticket or a season pass for an amusement park, you are giving some of your money to them. By you giving your money to the amusement parks, you are keeping these amusement parks in business, as you are helping to pay off their expenses. When they could pay off their expenses, they can buy more roller coasters. And when you buy more roller coasters, it brings more people together to ride more roller coasters. And overall, you're buying a single day ticket or a season pass to an amusement park helps out and brings so many people together. And that's why I think the meaning of life is riding roller coasters. I was just a little tiny bit biased, just a little bit. But let's move on to the next bit.
Our next question is from gigzthegigz. Is Disney mid compared to the other theme parks? I don't really have a solid answer for most of these, but for this one, I could say confidently that Disney is still a top-tier amusement park chain. They have some of the best theming, alongside Universal, of any type of chain ever. The branding kind of makes it have a charm in a way. While the rides may not be the most intense, the modern ones are truly impressive rides. I'm thinking of rides like Cosmic Rewind or Tron. So I'd say Disney is not mid at all. It's actually more of an upper tier amusement park chain. So I'm going to answer that with a pretty solid no. Disney is very good. Just going to check in here. I just want to say you guys did a really good job with these questions. And I hope we keep the momentum going for the next Cedar Chat. But on to the next question. This next question is from King's Gardens 751. Thoughts on Six Flags Qiddiya? Once again, a really good question. The place looks incredible. The coaster lineup looks unmatched compared to basically every other park in that area of the world. Can't talk about Six Flags Qiddiya without talking about the one and only Falcon's Flight. Will this ride be good? I don't know, because the elements look extremely drawn out. The first half kind of looks like Conda-esque in a way, with like the Intamin mini like mega coaster beginning, and then it goes into these big swooping elements going extremely fast, and that drop down the quarry. That looks incredible, but everything else looks alright. I think it'll be a good ride. But we can't talk about this place without talking about their other coasters, such as Spitfire. This is very Top Thrill 2, or like Pantheon-esque, but instead of a normal top hat, it is an inverted top hat, so that should be good. I believe it's the tallest inversion in the world when that opens, dethroning Steel Curtain. And then they have a couple others, such as Iron Rattler, their Vekoma Tilt Coaster, the first hyper Vekoma Tilt Coaster. All these Vekoma tilt coasters, in my opinion, look incredible. Not just because of that tilt track. The layouts afterwards look so good. Like the elements on, for example, Siren's Curse at Cedar Point. Those look like they're going to hit incredibly hard. And I think Six Flags Qiddiya will have a banger at their hands with that. They will also have a GCI wooden coaster. I believe the company is, I forget what the company is, but, it's the same type of coaster as, Bolt. Oh, it's Mauer. Yeah, it's Mauer. The Mauer, Bolt, the Sea Coaster-esque ride, and many others, which all look incredible. So, this place should be awesome, but I can tell you I will probably not ever get there. I don't have intentions on going to Saudi Arabia. But another question is, will the rides be, like, will Falcon's Flight be operational? Because it kind of looks like it's there just to be impressive. Like, I don't know if this ride will be open all the time. But Six Flags Qiddiya looks epic. Really good question. On to the next bit. I'm going to do 2 more during this episode, and every other question asked will be used in episode 2. So don't lose hope, I will be using everyone's question. But for this one, we are going to do from TheoBallintine. We have, if Phantom's Revenge were to ever get a layout extension, what do you think it would include? And does it really need a layout extension? This is yet again another very good question. doesn't need a layout extension. To be honest, I don't think so. The ride is pretty fulfilling. It's got big graceful elements at the beginning, and at the end it's got some crazy ejector. For me, I feel delivered after every time I've ridden it, but that might be because I've ridden it like 500 times or something. But something that Morgan wanted to do when they were first converting Phantom's Revenge was, instead of that pull up into the second drop, they wanted to have a double up into that second drop, which I think would be insanely good. Because that first drop actually is probably one of the weaker parts of Phantom's Revenge. And if you follow that up by a powerful airtime moment into another powerful airtime moment, I think this ride would skyrocket. I mean, not that skyrocket, into a lot of people's top 20s. And other than that, at the end, after the double down, maybe I'd put an outer banked airtime hill, and it does no inversions, because if there were inversions, they'd have to get rid of those really nice lap bars. Yeah, I think an outer banked airtime hill would be really cool in Phantom's Revenge. Maybe after that double down. Does it need more airtime hills? Maybe, probably not. Maybe do a little something else down in the ravine by Thunderbolt. I think that would be really cool. Couple turns, maybe even an airtime hill. Something that I think Phantom's Revenge could really use, though, is a little floater airtime other than the second drop. So maybe a floater airtime hill down by Thunderbolt. I think that would do really well. But in the grand scheme of things, I really don't think it needs a layout extension. But it's always fun to speculate. So yeah, that's my answer to that one. And we're going to move on to the final question of Cedar Chat Season 1, Episode 1. So our last question is from GoldX Gaming 874. And I think this is a proper way to end the first episode. As most of you probably know, Kennywood is my home park. And this question is, what coaster should Kennywood get next? I have strong opinions about this question. But before Kennywood was owned by Herschend, I was pretty confident that Kenny would get one of those launched inverted infinity coasters from Gerstlauer, such as Storm at Tussenfrid. I think it just filled the Kennywood bill. It was compact, it was cheap, and it was kind of prototype-esque, also making it one of the, a big record breaker, a big seller to the general public. But now that Kennywood's owned by Herschend, this is a hard question, because a lot of what Herschend's been doing recently involves family coasters. So what type of family coaster would Kennywood get next? I think that something like, if Kennywood wanted to go all out with a family coaster, I think there's one option that I'm looking into, and that is the launched LIM coaster from Vekoma, such as Big Bear Mountain at Dollywood, which is also a Herschend park. So I think that would work really well at Kennywood. Maybe put it back in Kennywood Junction, theme it to some sort of steel mill of some sort. I don't know. I think it would really go well. If not that, then maybe a Vekoma family boomerang would be really, really cool at Kennywood. Because I think Kennywood could really work to get a modern steel family coaster. Because all we really have is, Racer, Jackrabbit, I guess, maybe? And then Little Phantom. And then I guess after that it would be Thunderbolt and Skyrocket. So we're really lacking on that family coaster department. And I think a Vekoma family boomerang or Big Bear Mountain style roller coaster will do really well at Kennywood. But if Herschend were to add a thrill coaster, I actually don't know. I think Vekoma would be the manufacturer at hand here. Maybe a Vekoma tilt coaster. I think that would be pretty darn cool at Kennywood. Or maybe something with a launch, such as something like Abyssus at Energylandia, but I'm worried that'll be too similar to Skyrocket. Something else that I've kind of been thinking of recently is, what if they brought back a modern shuttle looping coaster from, I bet you any manufacturer could make that, and then you could theme it to the laser loop and bring that back. I think that would do really well at Kennywood and be great marketing for the locals. Yeah, so I have a couple of answers to that question, but what do you think? Write your comments down below. And that is going to do it with Season 1, Episode 1 of the Cedar Chat. So please write more questions for next Cedar Chat down in the comments below. Get ready for, if your question wasn't included, be ready, because it will be in the next Cedar Chat. I can tell you that. I have them all written down right here, and I'm ready to go. But yeah, be sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and we will see you very soon for the next Cedar Chat Season 1, Episode 2. Goodbye, everyone, and we will see you soon. Bye-bye. Oh yeah, one thing before we go. I never thought in a million years that I would get this many questions. Matter of fact, so many that I'm transferring them to the next one. So keep it up for the next Cedar Chat. Now this is the real goodbye. See ya in the next one.